Flips, falls, high impact moves. Is it a stunt or is it a hazard? Or better yet, is it a dancer hazard? Our contract actually has some language that tries to put a definition and some parameters around what is and what may constitute dancer hazard. But it's not a full picture, not even close to being a full picture. So today, we're breaking down the difference and why it matters for your safety and your paycheck. Hi, I'm Pat Perez, SAG-AFTRA National Director of Stunt and Safety and Outreach. Welcome to Take 5. I'm joined by Ms. Janae Lynch, Senior Music Lead Business Representative of SAG-AFTRA, and a personal friend, colleague, and you will not find a better advocate for this dancer community. How you doing, Janae?
I'm doing good. Thanks, Pat, for the great intro.
Well, thank you for being here. Very much appreciated. So let's start with some basics. Here in the stunt department, we define a stunt by using two factors, really. First, we like to look, is there an element of hazard or danger? And then second, does it require some type of special skill, training, certification to perform it safely? And generally, if you're looking at a yes answer to both of those questions, it's likely a stunt that you're looking at. How does that compare when we're talking about dancer hazard? Because I know there is some contract language, but what are the comparisons?
You're absolutely right, Pat. So we do have contract language that outlines and gives a bit of a definition of what dancer hazard is, and it is definitely different from a stunt. So when we look at dancer hazard, we're looking at the context and the choreography, as well as the conditions and the elements of the scene. So if there's being specific movements being performed and how that's being performed, if you're on an elevated platform, if it is raining, if it is a slippery surface or a hard surface, confined spaces, those are all different conditions that could determine whether or not something is a hazard. And also, too, how that impacts the body over time. So we're looking at if we're dancing on concrete, it may not seem hazardous, but the more you do it repetitively throughout the day and throughout the life of a dancer, that could actually add to a lot of physical strain that could wind up into injury. So when we look at these conditions and how they're met, it can qualify as a hazardous activity for a dancer underneath our contracts. And that then entitles the performer to additional payments, such as hazard payment, and additional protections under our contracts.
There's so much similarity between our two performer categories because
There absolutely
their
is.
physical nature of what they do, what they go through for their art. But that's just one area of overlap. I mean, let's talk about the relationship that, under our department, we have your stunt coordinators and your performers. And in many ways, the stunt coordinator's relationship to their stunt performers is similar to what the choreographer's relationship is with their dancers.
So, Pat, similar to a stunt coordinator, a choreographer is in charge of the safety of the dancers. So they should be the ones to notify production and trigger, hey, we need to advocate for these dancers and say this is a stunt or this is a dancer hazard, and have that conversation with production.
In that respect, they very much are similar. So let's explore that and let's talk about that relationship a little bit more.
Absolutely. So there's rare occasions where a stunt coordinator is brought in to work with the choreographer and alongside them in determining if there's any sequences within a dance that has elements like falls or tackles or precision movements that go beyond what standard dance choreography and vocabulary are. So a great example is there was a production that had dancers flipping a table that was full of dinnerware, plates, cups, utensils, and they had to flip that in a certain way to where the dinnerware wasn't flying everywhere and then could potentially injure other dancers around each other as you're flipping the table. So we worked with production in determining that that was a stunt and qualified as a stunt bump versus a dancer hazard.
Now, that's an interesting point. A stunt bump as opposed to a dancer hazard. I just want to make sure we get a clear distinction between the two because I don't want folks to walk away thinking that they are one and the same. I mean, you could do a better job of that having experienced both. Can you tell me what the distinction is?
Absolutely. So anytime that the stunt coordinator is going to come in and work directly with the dancers and essentially training them how to do something correctly, that's more than likely going to warrant a stunt bump, which is something that's negotiable. There's not a scale set wage for stunt bumps. But as we mentioned earlier, we do have specifics of things that would qualify as a dancer hazard. And so when those conditions are met, we do have specific set bumps. For example, under our TV theatrical contract, if you have 1 day of hazard, it's $125. But if you have multiple days of dancer hazard, it's going to be $100 a day. So that would be the difference between a stunt bump and dancer hazard pay.
Girl, there's a lot of for examples here. I mean, it's just so many questions pop up. What should a performer do? I mean, if you're not sure whether something qualifies as a stunt in the stunt department, we just say, hey, give us a call. I mean, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I like to say, when in doubt, reach out. That should be like our resounding motto here, right? When in doubt, reach out. Our department works closely together with the stunt department in these type of situations so we can evaluate the details of what's happening and we can make the best determination for the performer to ensure that you have the right protections and ensuring that any additional bumps that might be applicable are paid to you.
As Janae said, when in doubt, reach out. But if somebody does have more questions about dancers, where could they go?
They can go to sagaftra.org/dancers for more information on dancer hazard.
And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Take 5 episodes. Thank you.